The laws of the game will tell you, hands to the face, hands to the throat, it's a red card.
I mean, there's some hands in on Segura's face there as well.
That's the real argument that's going to be had.
Welcome into replay for MLS Match Day 26. I'm your host, Andrew Wiebe, and as always, we're taking a closer look at the most controversial refereeing decisions in Major League Soccer. You yelled at me, I saw you in my mentions, and yes, Houston and Philadelphia supporters, we will start with your match just before the end of the first half. 44th minute. Dwayne Holmes is driving into the box, and there's the whistle from Rosendo Mendoza, the referee. He is saying Raffanello of the Union fouled him, but he fouled him just outside the 18-yard box. Let's watch this play back closely for a couple things. Number one, where does the foul, and I'm using air quotes there because we've got to determine whether it is one, where does it occur? And does Raffanello get a touch? Raffanello, as we see here, definitely gets a little bit of ball. You can tell by the way the ball bounces up, but it is slight, and he also definitely gets Dwayne Holmes. On VAR replays, it looks like they're isolating the step across as the foul moment. I don't see any real contact there. To me, that part is a fair challenge for the ball, and he gets contact. I've got the potential foul as the left foot of Holmes into the back of the right knee of Raffanello right here. And to me, that actually looks outside the box. So for me, had Raffanello not gotten a piece of the ball, I would still say it should be a free kick and not a penalty. In the end, I agree with Mendoza's final conclusion after the review initiated by VAR, Elegio Araguin. No foul, no penalty, drop the ball, and we're off and running. Okay, it's still the first half, but the clock says 53 minutes because, well, stoppage time was lengthy. This time, it's a penalty for the Dynamo that Mendoza calls on the field. It's on Jesus Bueno of the Union, and you can see why right here with that view from behind. Yep, that is a chicken wing movement toward the flight of the ball. Jamie Watson on the broadcast rightfully points out how tight the arm was initially and how it comes out and into the path of the ball. Easy call, handball to the spot. Jack McGlynn scores against his former team and then kisses the Dynamo badge. Wow, interesting. All right, here's the one that had everybody up in arms in the 85th minute because initially it's a penalty call for the Union. It's a crazy sequence. You got a free kick in, bodies are flying, ball comes back in. Houston's Ortiz absolutely fouls Damiani here. He just kind of runs him over clumsily. And Rosendo Mendoza points to the spot. Penalty. And the whole thing is onside, even though it kind of looks like it wouldn't be, because as Watson points out, Ethan Bartlow is down behind the play. Well, on this show, we want to put our detective hats on and we want to figure out why Bartlow is down. And here on the replay, you can see it's because he takes an elbow, though I think it was completely inadvertent from Nathan Harriel on the original set piece. Araguin sends Mendoza to the monitor yet again. Mendoza watches the replay and takes the penalty decision off for that foul. But I don't think I agree with that. I'm with Jamie Watson here. I don't think it is a foul. To me, Harriel's eyes are on winning the header. He simply jumps higher and has position. And it's truly unfortunate for Bartlow, but that doesn't make it a foul in my opinion. I don't see a swing, I don't see any attempt to strike or clear space with the elbow. It's a natural jumping and coming down motion, and actually, if you look closely, the reason why that arm ends up in that position is there's a ton of contact from behind by Jack McGlynn pushing Harriel. So for me, this is all inadvertent. Yes, it hurts Bartlow, but that doesn't make it a foul in my opinion. I think the penalty should have stood. Oh, and one last one from this. 98th minute, Frankie Westwood gets baited in an emotional game. Lawrence Anali is frustrated too. He gets in Westfield's face after a challenge. It kind of hurts them both. And Westfield just loses his head. This is deliberate, non-negligible contact from Westfield to the head of an opponent. It doesn't matter that Anali got in his face. That's going to be a red card for violent conduct every time. To San Diego, Vancouver we go. Potential penalty here for San Diego. You see the ball hit Andres Cubas' hand. That part is not debatable here. The question is it a handball? It was called one by Alexis De Silva, but just outside the 18-yard box. So as I watch the replays, I'm saying to myself, well, if this is a handball, it's definitely inside the 18 or just over the line and thus a penalty. But when I was watching it live in the replays before review, I was wondering, how extended is that arm really away from the body? To me, it looked pretty natural given the circumstances. You know, a coming together, a guy like raising his knee to face level. You wouldn't expect Cubas' arm to be plastered at his side for a coming together when he's protecting himself from that jumping knee. Well, Caroline Chenard sends De Silva to the monitor, and we get this look behind the opposite goal, and that's the one that tells us where the arm is positioned. The arm starts wide, but it comes tight when contact occurs. So I am in complete agreement with Chenard and Alexis de Silva when he reverses the handball decision. No penalty. El Trafico, fireworks! This time, 90th minute, Eddie Segura is not happy with Cuevas, who is standing over his guy Martinez. Only Segura does what you can't do, which is, hey, remember what I said about deliberate contact to the head or neck that's non-negligible? Yeah, it's right there. That's a red card for violent conduct. Guido Gonzalez Jr. spots it and calls it. Well done on that one. Two quick ones from Seattle San Jose. In the 54th minute, I had people yelling at me that Daniel Musovski was offside on the goal he scored from this ball from Pedro de la Vega, but I've got that as even personally, and certainly not clear and obvious enough to go to review. I don't think Soren Stoik of the VAR would ever mess with that one. And I agree with Drew Fisher on a play just 12 minutes later. A lot of Sounders fans thought this was a really ugly challenge by Daniel on De La Vega, and I can kind of see why they were upset. There are some studs high there, but in the end, I agree with Heath Pierce on the broadcast. Daniel pulls that foot back, he doesn't lunge, the contact is not severe. Fisher does a good job calming everybody down and playing on. How about a potentially game-changing no decision in the 82nd minute of the Sporting Kansas City-New York City game? New York City's player is in behind and Logan and Dembe is defending, and boy, I agree with Warren Barton on the broadcast. This looks like a push to me. It's an arm into the back with extension, not massive extension, but certainly more than enough extension to throw off the NYCFC attacker, and it's definitely not shoulder to shoulder. Personally, I've got this as a penalty, and I would be fine with it being sent for review. That's how obvious I think that contact is and how it throws off the New York City player. But at the same time, I get why it might not be sent for review. Is it 99% clear and obvious? Probably more of an in the opinion of the referee moment. And in my opinion, yes. And in the opinion of Tim Ford, no. And thus NYCFC will be frustrated, and I get why. Here's a great video review from the Portland-Minnesota game. 35th minute. Initially it's called as a foul and a penalty for the Loons by Ricardo Fierro, the referee. So let's pretend that we're Sean Tahini and go check this one. First up, is the play onside? Yes, it is. Look down the line. Second, is there a handball? Yeah, I see the arm extended there and the ball hits the arm, so I've got a handball. However, Ross Smith on the broadcast, who is all over refereeing decisions, credit to Ross, sees this one quickly, quicker than I did. There is a push in the back and a clear and obvious foul prior to the handball, right there. That's why the handball occurs. Tahini recommends review, Fierro reverses the call, no penalty. Well done to the crew on that one. And we end in Dallas, St. Louis. First off, had some St. Louis folks saying in the 85th minute, Petar Musa should have been red carded for this elbow to Baumgartel. No, not for me. I could take a yellow here for the height of the arm, but the elbow is not deliberate in my opinion. So I don't think Marcos de Oliveira would ever call this red, and Kevin Stott's not going to recommend that for review. And then finally, I want to give a shout out to our guy Samuel Sarver, who stole the show in this game, and he does his best Andrew Wiebe / Simon Borg IR impression. But on the field, he pointed out his own foul. He called it in the aftermath. And Marcos de Oliveira, the referee, well, he had to agree. It was a foul. Samuel Sarver, he followed the if you see something, say something. Only Samuel Sarver, you must watch the show. Remember, if you see something, say something. As Sarver did, but please, give me the minute and a little description. It helps us all out tremendously. That's it for us in Matchday 26. Remember to tune into the MLS All-Star Game this week in Austin. And big thanks to my producer, Aldo Medina, and my editor / producer extraordinaire, Phil Levanco. I'm Andrew Wiebe. We'll see you next time.